The first post-Cyberstorm access event is actually here, and we're going to take a look at how this format actually developed. Don't be like the 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. This is everything that I could help put together based off of everything from the card merchant event and what it was available and reaching out to top 4 to put together. I wish I could go more in depth here with this, but they just chose not to do coverage. The best coverage that was available for it was Nesh doing commentary on it. There was a couple of other people that were doing commentary on it as well. I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head. So that was actually, it was DB Grinder, yes. DB Grinder and Nesh teamed up to cover this event when it actually happened over the past weekend here. So for top 4 out of this event, we had Superheavy Samurai. Superheavy Samurai ended up winning the event. We'll talk about the list here in a second. Grim YGO has the original up if you want to go check that out. But Superheavy Samurai proving that while there are going to be some differences between OCG and TCG variations, that essentially a full monster build is going to look like it's going to be the way to go. Purrely ended up getting second out of the event, and I will say that in terms of overall development for that deck, it has definitely showcased a lot of its power and things. The last event that we had showcasing, Kashtira and things like that, it was a pretty huge metagame shift in terms of this, but this was a pretty fair swing up here. We also had one Kashtira in top cut, still kind of showcasing that the deck is still going to be that angry little deck that's going to stick around and kind of bully around players for the most part. So that's going to be something that you're going to kind of have to keep an eye on here as time goes on. And then we also had Mathmech featuring some of the new firewall cards in the deck. You gotta love the fact that this deck gets away with some of the coolest new innovations and so forth. All right, we're going to pass on over so that you can see these top deck lists. All right, the first list that we are going to be looking at here is, in fact, the Superheavy Samurai toolbox. Yes, this is 40 monsters in the main and 15 more in the side deck, along with Ye Olde Archfiend Eccentric down here being one of those amazing cards for you to do your thing. Also, the Ancient Gear Toolbox aspect of this deck, from what I was listening to about some of the combo ability, you have a lot of big things that you can do. Now, I've seen some OCG versions of this that do try to, mess around with the Cyberstorm aspect of things. Obviously, they opted to not even worry about it, which is perfectly fine. You're still going to be toggling for a lot of the same power card. Man, this deck is, looking at this on paper, this is so good. So, of course, you're going to be focusing on your triple bike here. Your triple copies of the Prodigy Wakashi, which is Universal Pendulum Scales, baby. We got triple copies of the Soul Piercer with your triple copies of Ye Olde Samurai Wagon. Your 1 Scales with your 1 Soul Gaia Booster. And then, of course, you got the 1 Soul Claw, the 1 Soul Peacemaker. Only 2 copies of Big Benki. I know a few people are going to feel that you might want more of those, but to be honest with you, I think that this does get the job done. We have 1 Ancient Gearbox with 1 Tunneler, your 1 copy Regulus with 1 Jizukuru. We have 2 copies of Fenrir with triple copies of Space Rock, triple copies of Ash, your triple Ghost Ogre, your triple Effect Veiler, your triple Gamma, and of course, 1 old boring Driver. And then you got 1 Gigant, the 1 Baguski, your 1 Merrymaker, your 1 Sargass with your 1 Zeus, 1 Baron, your 1 Excel, and your 1 copy of the Ninja Sarutobi. And then we got 2 Scarecrow Wink ones, 1 Genius with 1 Asa, your 1 Unicorn, your 1 Apo, and your 1 Access Code. And then you've got triple Archfiend, triple copies of the Divine Carnate, 2 Retaliating Seas, triple Drolls, triple Magna Hut, and 1 copy of Druis Worm here, wrapping up the power that is the first place list. Now, second place here, you're going to see something kind of interesting. This build didn't opt for the inclusion of, Volcanic Show, didn't want to include the package for, any of the other real value that we've kind of seen here. I mean, Rainbow Bridge of Salvation was a really cool option, but then you have to play, the Cobalt Eagle. This just lets you play snow, and then it just lets you toggle for the brow. That's literally it. This, after all of your deck thing, is just going to get you an additional draw at the end of the day. Shell is a specific search, so I understand why you don't want to particularly give consideration to that, but at least in terms of how this deck was feeling for a lot of the event, it was pretty strong. So we have triple copies of little Purrely Lily with your regular little Purrelys. You got your triple Ash, and then we're playing 2 Droll, triple Droll, and of course triple copies of Nibiru. You are really hand trapped out of your mind here in order to cover your bases as much as possible. We are playing your triple Snow with your 1 Brow, and then of course we got my triple My Friend Purrely, triple Delicious Memory. We're only playing 1 copy of the Stray Street. We have triple copies of Happy Memory, triple copies of Pretty Memory, triple copies of Sleepy Memory. And then you got 2 talents and 1 leap here. Also do keep in mind that this does facilitate draw power for the deck, so drawing into a hand trap is really, really strong. We have 1 Lingaribo, 1 Apollosa with 1 IP, 1 Assembled Blue, 1 Assembled Nightingale. Then of course we have the Downer, the Zeus's, the 2 Nors, your 1 Happiness, 1 Plump, 2 Plump, and 2 Beauty. Then we have 1 Driver, triple Gamma, triple Divine Carnate, your 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Called by the Grape, triple Rivalry, and triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone here, wrapping up your Purrely list. Now, we got to kind of take a step back here and remember that Kashtira is still a metagame contender. I know, right? I know. A lot of people are sick of Kashtira at this point, but you still got to be aware that the deck exists in the room, and it is going to be something that players are going to have to kind of deal with. Now, Shifter does kind of storm back in here because against your Purrely matchup, taking their graveyard away from them is really, really strong. And this build does opt for a lot of that. Build also opted for, Exceed Encores. Still hope that we see a reprint of this card sometime in the near future here to allow this deck the chance to kind of play a little bit more steadily over time. So do kind of keep that in mind. So we are playing triple copies of Dimension Shifter with triple copies of Fenrir. We have 1 copy of Ogre, 1 Rice Heart with triple copies of Unicorn. We have triple copies of Lava Golem, so we are back to handing the opponent the big old guy. We have 1 Scareclaw and 1 Tier Elements for Kashtiras. Then we have triple Econ. The ability to take your opponent's monster is still pretty good. You have 1 Feather Duster with your triple Birth, triple copies of Theosis, triple copies of Pot of Prosperity with triple Raceloth, and then 1 Terraforming, triple copies of Talents, triple copies of Imperm, and 1 Big Bang. Then we had 1 Almirage, your 1 Donner, with your 1 Diabolsis, 2 Big Eyes here, 1 Dracosac, 2 Shangri-La, triple copies of Arise Heart, 2 copies of Zeus, and 2 copies of Darkarm, the Dragon of Annihilation. And then you got the standard triple Droll, triple Nightmare Corruptor Ibley, because if your opponent's not playing Lingaribo, I mean, this is just free real estate, right? Especially at this point in time, the more and more people strip these out, may as well. We have triple Dark Will No More, triple copies of Lightning Storm, and triple copies of Exceed Encore here, wrapping up your general power here for Kashtira. Now, whether or not, we survive into the next format to see this deck still do something, that really leaves something to be desired for sure. And the last top 4 deck list that we have here is Firewall inclusion of Mathmech here. The Firewall Defender here, if this card is sent to the graveyard as link material for a Cyber, you can special summon the Firewall monster, except for Defender from your deck. Okay, well, I mean, got Firewall Guardian and Firewall Phantom, sure. And then you cannot special summon monster turn activate this except for Cybers. And if a Firewall monster you control be destroyed by a card effect, banish this card from your graveyard instead. Oh boy, free extenders. The Phantom here, sends the graveyard's link material, now assign that to spell a trap card from your deck to your hand, and then discard 1. Banish this from your graveyard during the end phase and shuffle 1 Cyber's monster from your graveyard into the deck. It does kind of replenish. But the biggest thing down here that makes this deck so much better is Singularity. Quick effect and target cards your opponent controls and or in the graveyard up to the number of different types. Fusion, Rinkrow, Exceed, and Fusion you control and or in the graveyard. Return them to the hand, and if you do, this card gains 500 attack for each card return. If a monster card this card points to is destroyed by bounce into the graveyard, target a Cyber's monster in your graveyard and special summon it. I love getting to return, like my firewall dragon or something. I use the stepping stone back to my hand. So we have triple Ash with triple Draw and Lockbird, triple copies of Firewall Defender with 1 Firewall Guardian. We have 1 Firewall Phantom with your triple copies of Ghost Ogre, 1 Edition with triple Circular, triple Diameter with 1 Nabla, 1 Sigma with 1 Subtraction, triple Parallaxy with 1 Santa Claus, triple Signet Mining, 1 Equation with triple Small World, 1 Signet Conflict, triple Imperm, and your 1 Super Factorial. Then we have 1 Update Jammer, 1 Transcode with 1 Splash Mage, 1 Link Spider, 1 Lingeribo with 1 G-Golem Crystal Heart, 1 Singularity, 1 Firewall, 1 Heat Soul, 1 Wicked. Then we got 2 Access Code, 1 Laplacian, and 2 Alimbertion with a triple Gamma, your 1 Driver, triple Cosmic, triple Dark Ruler, 2 Lightning Storm, and triple copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance, wrapping up everything that we have out of this event. Hoo-wee. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.